Hello folks, and welcome to another edition of Grudge Match, the show that plucks the people of DC and Marvel and throws them together to see which would win in an all-out brawl. Today is another lightning round edition, where we quickly barrel through a few often requested matchups that, for one reason or another, are not quite suitable for a full episode in and of themselves. And for this lightning round, it's going to be the battle of the side characters. Three long-standing supporting characters with very similar counterparts in the other comic universe going head-to-head. So let's waste no time and dive into the first of our three lightning round matches, and this is going to be the matchup between Jimmy Olsen and Rick Jones. Jimmy Olsen from Superman comics has often been touted as the friend of Superman. He has a watch that can signal Superman wherever he's at on the Earth, so Superman knows whenever Jimmy's in trouble. And Jimmy has even had his own comic for a long time in DC Comics, where he deals with problems and situations on his own. Throughout doing so, he has temporarily gained a number of powers over the years, including elasticity, Wolfman powers, turning into a giant turtle. He's gotten Kryptonian powers similar to Superman, but none of these powers seem to last very long. He usually loses them within 24 hours and returns to that of a normal person. The same can also be said of Rick Jones of Marvel Comics, the best friend of Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, and he has had several experiences throughout Marvel Comics all throughout the years. For a good period of time, he was bonded with the hero Captain Marvel and even possessed Captain Marvel's Negabands, which allowed him and Captain Marvel to switch places at a moment's notice. He was one time the Abomination, so he had the strength and powers of the Abomination. He has oftentimes been imbued with the Destiny Force, a limitless source of potential energy that could be used to alter reality. And even currently in Marvel Comics, he is gamma irradiated and has the ability to project and control gamma energy. But for the vast majority of both of these characters' existence, they have not had any superpowers and have relied on their detecting skills and their intelligence and ingenuity to overcome different obstacles. So if they were to fight, what would happen? Well, if you're looking at the non-powered versions of these two, Rick Jones is the far superior physical combatant, because for a good period of time, Rick Jones was the partner of Captain America, taking up the costume and mantle of Bucky. So with no powers, he was able to keep up with Captain America in the field, trained by Captain America himself in combat techniques. Jimmy Olsen has no particular fighting skills to speak of, so if they were to fight in their non-powered human forms, Rick Jones would clearly be the decisive winner between them. So let's jump to our second lightning round grudge match, and that's going to be Martha Kent versus Aunt May. So the mother of Superman versus the aunt of Spider-Man. Now, neither have ever been a combatant in any sense of the word in the comics. Though both have been present for many violent altercations and have been in mortal danger from such events, they've never actively participated in any real or noteworthy amounts of fighting. Both have died a number of times in the comics and been retconned back in or resurrected by in-canon means. So how to decide a winner if they should fight? Well, Aunt May is given to have several health problems over the years, recently even being diagnosed with cancer. Additionally, she has mobility issues from a bum hip and lingering issues from a leg injury from a plane crash. Martha has always been regarded as relatively healthy and in good shape for her age. So given that, as well as the requisite additional physicality that life on a farm would require over that of the city, Martha Kent is going to come out the winner in what would be a very quick and a very non-violent fight as possible. So then we'll go on to our final grudge match lightning round for today, and that is going to be the Battle of the Butlers. Alfred Pennyworth versus Edwin Jarvis. Alfred Pennyworth, the butler and friend of Bruce Wayne Batman, and Edwin Jarvis, the butler and friend of Tony Stark Iron Man. A lot of similarities between these two characters in terms of their backstory, both coming from military backgrounds. Alfred was a member of the British Army and later moved on to British intelligence and as an operative for MI5. Jarvis was part of the Canadian Air Force in World War II against the Nazis. Then, they both eventually left their positions within the military and went on to butler careers for rich people who would turn out to eventually become some of the most prominent superheroes of their worlds. Also, interestingly, both of these characters have a supervillain counterpart. An alternate universe version of Alfred Pennyworth is the supervillain known as the Outsider, and is a very prominent supervillain, very intelligent and very powerful in his world. And for Jarvis, there was a time that he was brainwashed by Ultron and the Masters of Evil into becoming the villain known as the Crimson Cowl. So similarities in potential villainous escapades as well. But let's take a look at where these two characters differ in their skills and abilities. Alfred Pennyworth is not only skilled in combat because of his army training and British intelligence history, but he's also skilled at engineering, mechanics, and medicine, among many other skills that he's developed in order to help Batman over the years. Batman primarily choosing to work alone. When in Gotham City, he's needed to fall back on Alfred's skills to help with his detecting, to help patch him up when he gets injured in a fight, and help upgrade his systems in the Batcave. Jarvis has been the butler for the Avengers for quite some time, and has not had to be as much of a reliant of Tony Stark's as Alfred has been for Bruce Wayne. So Jarvis doesn't quite have the litany of additional skills that Alfred Pennyworth has. And in fact, when it comes to these extra ways of helping their superhero, Tony Stark created the AI program and based it on Jarvis that we are more familiar with from the movies and current comics. But this AI program has nothing to do with the original Edwin Jarvis, who primarily sticks to domestic duties as the Avengers' butler. In fact, for many years now in the comics, while Jarvis has been present in the Avengers' lives, he has really never been part of any violent altercations or combat situations, always being a background character. Whereas Alfred has had many instances of getting involved in violent situations in the comics in recent years. So in light of that, with Alfred being more up-to-date on his training and more consistent levels of being involved in the crime-fighting aspects of Batman and the Justice League, as well as Jarvis being more relegated to domestic duties, as opposed to Alfred keeping himself in touch with all aspects of Batman's life, is going to give Alfred the advantage and the win between these two. So that will do it for this lightning round edition of Grudge Match. Let me know down below what you thought of the outcome of these fights. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ding the notification bell so you'll always be notified when new videos come out. And as always, give suggestions on what fights you'd like to see in the future, as well as any other ideas you might have for future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.